My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. Hey guys, so this is totally an impromptu video, more like a makeup playtime, although I'm probably going to call it duping the vibes of the Honey palette because that's what I want to do. I'm completely unprepared to film. I'm just wearing what I wore to work today, and my bangs pinned back with this sparkly headband because after working out this morning I didn't feel like dealing with them, and I'm wearing a shirt that I vowed never to wear on my channel, which says I'm kind of a big deal on the internet. My sister gave it to me as a gag gift when I hit 20,000 subscribers, and the joke is that we all know that I'm not really a big deal on the internet, just in case anyone was wondering. I just didn't feel like changing because what happened was it was a long, grueling work day. It's like 7:30 right now and we should probably be eating dinner. But what I want to be doing instead of eating dinner is seeing if I can dupe the vibes of the Honey palette. I was like finishing work, just crawling toward the finish line of my work week, and I just got the idea. It popped into my head, and I was, because I keep thinking about that palette. I'm not going to buy it, but I keep thinking about it, and I kind of think about, like, do I really like yellow eyeshadow? Why am I drawn to it? And I have a feeling that I'm drawn to it because of the grungy colors in it, like that mustardy stuff, but not really the brights. And I have the grungy stuff, but I don't really have the brights. So I was like, what if I just go through the process of duping the vibes and kind of get it out of my system? So I got home, I pulled together a bunch of eyeshadows to see if I could dupe the vibes. I just wanted to kind of see what I have in the way of yellows because I've never really done that before. And then I was about to start putting them on my eyes, and I was like, you know what? I should film this. So I'm doing it very casually, probably with very few edits. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. You should be in this one. You should come visit. This is the perfect video for you to be in. Joe is lying on the bed reading the news on his phone as he does every evening after work. He's looking pretty cute. He's looking pretty shy. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the shadows that I collected, and I don't know if I'm even going to go through and tell you what they are because I don't feel like that really matters. If you're duping the vibes at home, you are looking for whatever you have among your eyeshadows that is yellow. So that's what I did. I just pulled everything that's remotely yellow, and it's a mix of stuff. I was thinking that it would probably be a little bit more unwieldy than this because I was thinking I would have some in palettes, but I actually don't. Everything that I have that's in any way yellow is a single. Actually, some of these are pulled from the Natasha Denona palettes that I have, but those are magnetic and they pop out really easily. So 3 of these are Natasha Denona. The rest are singles. Some of them have been depotted, but they are singles for me in my collection. And then the one sort of yellow that's in a palette is in my Urban Decay Electric palette. It's this one right here, but it's really kind of a green. It's like a yellowy green. And so to me, it doesn't count. I think even if it were a single, I wouldn't have included it in my little vibe dupe palette. But I did want to show that to you because when I was at work thinking about this, I was like, oh, I think there's a bright yellow in the electric palette. But then when I saw it, I was like, no, it's not really the Honey palette vibes. It's like its own vibe. So I need to clean off my eyes, even though it looks like I'm not wearing anything on them. I actually did put that Kevyn Aucoin Glass Glow face highlighter on my eyes and my cheeks today. It's held up pretty well on my cheeks. My cheeks are still looking pretty shiny, and it's going to be a nightmare if I have fallout because it's going to just stick to that. It's like patches of glue on my cheeks. But I don't want that on my eyes, so I'm going to remove that from my eyes right now. Using my reusable cotton pad, which I've been using for almost a year now, and I think I've never shown them or mentioned them on my channel, but I'm using these now instead of disposable ones. All right, now I'm going to prime with this Essence I Heart Color Intensifying Eye base, and I've been trying to get more used to using this because the Smashbox one that I prefer, which is my only other one, is almost done. It's almost panned, and so I'm trying to kind of make that one last by using this one whenever possible. And what I've learned about this one is that if I use a really, really thin layer, it is more likely to perform. If I accidentally use too much of it, like a thicker layer, kind of like I do with the Smashbox one actually, if I use as much of this one as I do of that one, then it creases. So when I dupe the vibes, what I do is I look at the palette and I ask myself, if I owned this palette, what would I reach for first if this were my first time playing with it? And the answer to me is definitely a toss-up between that very, very pale yellow in the upper right-hand corner and the brighter marigold in the upper left-hand corner. That brighter marigold in the upper left-hand corner is something that I don't have a dupe for. And so I'm going in with this sort of peachy, pale thing. I'm not sure what it is. It just has a magnet on the back of it. So it was probably depotted maybe from like a Morphe shadow. It's a little bit more orange, a Morphe palette, sorry. It's a little bit more orange than the one in Honey, but it's the closest thing. It's more like the one in the bottom left-hand corner. But it's sort of the closest thing that I have, and it'll definitely do for making a look that looks like it was made with this palette, which is what I'm trying to do. So that's definitely on the orange side. I'm not blending very well right now because I'm just playing. I'm not trying to come up with like a beautiful, spectacular eye look that Instagram will all like. Like I'm just playing, so I'm not doing my best. So I'm gonna go in with Paper Tiger, which is also a ColourPop shadow, and it kind of looks like all of the matte shadows in the Honey palette all had a baby together, and this is it. So I'm going to use this to try to make the base of the look that I'm laying down a little bit more yellow and a little bit less orange. All right, that worked to make it a little bit more yellow, but I definitely want to go in with kind of the yellowest, brightest, almost lightest shade that I can to contribute to the illusion of yellow. So I'm going to go in with this big eyeshadow. This was sent to me by Zara in Australia, I believe, and it's a Makeup Forever shadow. Makeup Forever doesn't have names, it just has numbers. I tried to declutter it. I mean, I actually pulled it out of a palette of singles that I'm giving away because I remembered that I had put a yellow one in there because I was trying to put together all of the yellows. So I originally didn't think that I wanted this, and I may not actually still keep it. That tells me something about whether the Honey palette would be a smart buy for me, if you know what I mean. All right, now we're talking. Now it's really starting to look yellow. And I don't know, I'm not against it. I'm not against it, but I don't think it would have occurred to me to do something like this if this palette hadn't been released. Now we all know that the mustardy brown in the bottom right-hand corner is the one that I really like the most, and the glitter, I would say. But that mustardy brown, I would not pick up this palette and not use that shadow. So I feel like this is the one that I have in my little palette that looks the most like that. Maybe the picture I'm looking at is a little bit dark because this shadow looks a little dark. It's actually a Luxie Beauty shadow that was recently sent to me by one of you, and it's called Butterscotch. So I'm gonna use this one to deepen up the outer corner. Again, it might be a little darker. Butterscotch might be a little darker than the yellow in the palette, but from what I can tell looking now, the image on screen is kind of spot on. All right, my blending isn't amazing right now because again, I'm kind of just slapping this on for fun. It's not very symmetrical either, but I'm loving the colors. I really, really love this grungy mustard butterscotch, and I do feel like this is definitely developing into something that looks very, very, very honey. So I think that the only other thing to deal with is that glitter, and I don't have a gold panned glitter like that, and I'm not even sure that I have a glitter that kind of like fits that description. Yeah, I don't, oh sorry, shook the camera. I don't have a yellow gold glitter, but I've been purchasing so much glitter lately, and so if I wanted a yellow gold, I would have purchased one. Like yellow gold isn't really what I tend towards when it comes to glitter, right? Like I've purchased holographic glitters, I've purchased more silver gold glitters, I've purchased kind of blue gold glitters, and there were plenty of times when I could have purchased a glitter like this and I didn't. So again, that kind of tells me something about what my relationship with this palette might be. I feel like the thing that's the most like it is probably this eyeshadow from the Natasha Denona gold palette, but this one's definitely more on the gold side, and the gold glitter in the Honey palette is more on the yellow side. So it's not exactly right. Although wait, isn't there a duochrome in this palette? Yes, there's a very, very bright kind of white yellow duochrome, which is probably very similar to this Carrot Cake, which is a ColourPop shadow. I bet that's really similar. So I'm actually gonna put that on the center of my lids. I feel like that's a closer vibe dupe. Yes, that's looking very yellow. And in fact, Carrot Cake isn't even a duochrome. So it's kind of, again, it's more like many of these eyeshadows all had a baby together. I'm just gonna do a little blending and messing around. All right, I'm just gonna pop on a little bit more mascara because the mascara that I had on today is looking a little bit wan. I'm gonna put this Lancome eye kajal on my waterline. It's sort of like a soft taupe. I have a little fallout to clean up. That product that I just applied was the Touche Claw, the original Touche Claw, but in the new lightest shade. It kind of took care of the fallout, like the little bits of fallout that I couldn't wipe away because I'm just not taking the time, but without making it look like I have makeup on my face, which I really appreciate. Although the bottom half of my face, I haven't done anything with complexion-wise, and it's looking kind of wrecked. I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but I'm not looking like any kind of glamour puss right now, but that is not the point of this video. I do want to put a lipstick on though. I'm going to put on this Sweet Cheeks lipstick that was just sent to me by Joa. You know that brand Joa? And I really like the color. I do really like the color, but I feel like it's overshadowing the look on the eyes. I'm just going to put on this lip gloss from Erin's Faces, which I love. I still haven't gotten around to filming my dedicated product review of the 5 things I've been trying from Erin's Faces, but the lip gloss is really good. It's a mineral gloss and it's unscented, completely unscented. So if you're sensitive to scents and you're sensitive to, you know, weird, unnecessary chemical ingredients in makeup, and you're looking for a good gloss. So there's the look. What do you think? Does it look like I used that ColourPop palette? I feel like it really does. I am surprised, as I always am when I dupe the vibes, at how well I was able to do it. Because when I look at this palette, the yellows that I collected from what I already own, it doesn't look at all like the ColourPop palette. It looks really different. And so I'm tempted to look at these and be like, but I don't have that bright marigold. I don't have that. I don't have, you know, and I don't have anything like it. But when it comes to actually applying it to the eyes, yes, I definitely do. And I think that more to the point, this is the kind of look that I would do with this palette, that I would do with this palette, right? So if you're somebody who would gravitate toward that really, really bright, saturated marigold, then this might not be the exact look that you would do. But if you're that person, then you probably already have eyeshadows that you could use to create the look that you would be most likely to make with this palette, or the handful of looks that you would be most likely to make. The most important thing to me, though, I think about this process is that I feel like I just played with this ColourPop palette. I feel like I just did it. I feel like I just got it in the mail, opened it up, sat down, and filmed a video that was like first impressions of the ColourPop Aha Honey palette. That's what I feel like I just did. So I feel like I've taken care of that desire to kind of mess with something new, to do something new, because I would not have created this little palette and I would not have sat here and done this look if it weren't for the inspiration of this new release. And to me, that's actually the most useful thing about duping the vibes. It gives you the experience that I think we often crave when we go out and buy something new, but without having to buy the thing. And then we learn the things we would have learned. Like I learned that I remembered that I'm not really into bright, solid gold glitter. That's not really my glitter vibes. I kind of remembered that I'm always grunging up a look and there's really only one shadow in here that works to grunge up a look, so the palette doesn't really skew in that direction for me. Just things like that. You kind of get reminded of those without having made the purchase and without having added anything new to your collection. I can't wait to hear what you think in the comment section down below. Let me know if you guys have been duping the vibes of anything lately. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself this week so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.